It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Happy Friday, March 20th. We made it to Friday. I feel very happy that we made it to Friday. I don't know about other people, how happy they're feeling today, because there is a host of people that are having a bad day, bad week. So you had a bad day. Um, we are going to get into the fallout from an industry perspective. There's so much to talk about because not only did, of course, Taylor Frankie Paul get let go and basically The Bachelorette get canceled, ABC and the executives are freaking out. You guys, they are freaking the F out. There's so much panic happening. There's so much going on. And I honestly believe that this is going to set a lot of dominoes falling. We're going to even pull up a Bethany reality reckoning moment today. So a lot of stuff going on today. Plus some other stories. Everyone, thank you for being here. I'm curious if you're going to notice anything different. It's your daily dose of Donna. A new opening. Same song, because I would never do that to you. That would be cruel and unusual punishment. But a new opening that updates my look a little bit, because the clips that on my old opening were literally from 2023. And I feel like times they are changing, right? w- I'm still playing with it. It's got a little Andy Warhol vibe, if you know what I mean. Okay, where do I even start, you guys? Where do I start? Uh Yesterday was wild. Wild what was going on behind the scenes with all the executives, with Taylor Frankie Paul and everything. And I'm trying to think about where I want to go here, because I have 15 stories I want to share with you about it. So, here's how I can start, okay? Here's how I'll start. And if you guys have any questions that you want me to specifically answer, I'll let you know. So, as you guys know, my husband is a camera operator and a director of photography, and he's worked on a variety of reality shows in this world, right? Specifically, he did this last season of Dancing with the Stars. He's done that for about 10 seasons, and he's done many seasons of the Bachelor, Bachelorette franchise. But he didn't work on this last season of The Bachelorette. He was asked to work on it, but he couldn't because it coincided and crossed over from Dancing with the Stars. So, as you guys know, Dancing with the Stars was taping. I can't remember when the finale was. I want to say around Thanksgiving. And then this started taping in early October, is The Bachelorette. So it did coincide and he couldn't work on it. A lot of people have a lot of questions about what happens to the people working on The Bachelorette, and I'm happy to answer about any of those. So, the way it works for crew with The Bachelorette being canceled, the season of Bachelorette, everyone that worked on the show got paid. Every single camera operator, every single sound mixer, every single costume designer, every single whatever, right? If they were currently in production, if they were a production crew member, they got paid. If they were pre-production, they got paid. If they were post-production and they are still currently editing the show, they will not get paid unless ABC wants to pay prior to, even though they've canceled or paused the show, maybe they want to pay people just in case they want a full final, cut of the show in case they decide to one day air it. I don't think that they will. So that's from a production standpoint. Now, another little insider information. I did ask Lance to talk to his buddies. Okay. I said, find out what things were really like on the set. I am quite shocked to report that not one person had anything negative to say about TFP, Taylor Frankie Paul. She was kind. She was sweet. She listened, she was on time, she had her shit together, at least according to the sources that we heard from. Not one person said anything negative, which makes me really believe that Dakota is the reason for, and I'm not blaming Dakota for the video, we'll get into that in a bit, but I do believe Dakota is the source at this point in her life of the chaos that's happening in her life. Every time Dakota's name is brought up, she gets mad. Every time there's a conversation about Dakota, she gets heightened. He throws her off. He comes first. He's the priority. And as I'm rewatching scenes from this last season, I recognize that there's a lot of moments that Taylor will be completely okay and Dakota will be brought up and she gets shot up to 100, if you know what I mean. I just blew dry my hair and like I feel like I have hair on my face. You know that feeling? So I do believe that there is a strong part of her that was not, she's not able to keep it together when this man is mentioned. It's truly a drug. A drug. Because think about it. If you are addicted to whether it be alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, food, whatever, and someone says to you, I don't think that that's good for you, but you're not ready to stop it. You will get defensive. You will get angry. You will panic. Oh my God, is it going to go away? That's how it works with Dakota. And I I don't believe that I'm not making any excuses for her because I think her behavior has been absolutely atrocious. But just rewatching this episode when they go to in this last season, I think it's episode 6 or 5. I rewatched the moment when she's with her mom and they go to Colorado to visit uh the like the dad's family or whatever. And I fast forwarded through a lot of random scenes. Like I fast forward through a lot of scenes on that Mormon Wives show. I have to be honest. Like I fast forward through Layla modeling scenes. Okay. Sorry. But when she walks towards, I mean, when she's driving towards in Colorado with her mom in the passenger seat, and they're totally getting along. They're laughing, they're talking, they're having a good time, everything's good. And then 2 seconds later, she brings up Dakota or someone brings up Dakota. And the way Taylor's energy, mood, vibe, words that she shares, the way it shifts is dramatic. Dramatic. And that happens multiple times throughout the show. Now, I see Enrique saying, I'm Team Dakota. Men can play the game. Sorry, not sorry. I'm really struggling because Dakota has always indicated to me that he is an incredibly unhealthy man. He is incredibly manipulative and shady in that way. And he also wants to sabotage everything for Taylor. But you have to understand, rewatching, and I have been spending some time rewatching just to really understand what was their energy like. The girls are also kind of sharing that sentiment. Not to say that I don't believe what Macy, Michaela, all those other girls, Layla, what they feel about Dakota, but they're Taylor's friend and they're sharing Taylor's perspective, which is this guy sabotages everything for Taylor. And I do think he does, but I also don't know if this specific incident that we're seeing right now play out has anything to do with him trying to make her jealous on the show by hooking up with some other girls that are peripheral around her. Okay. Let's go back to the beginning. I want to be very clear about this video and where I believe it came from. So I released a TikTok or Instagram reel, whatever, that has gone completely viral, or like it's gotten hundreds of thousands of views, that says, and I released it yesterday morning before ABC canceled The Bachelorette, before I did my show, before I got more information. And I said, obviously Dakota leaked that video. Obviously he leaked the video. I take that back. I, in my heart, do not believe that Dakota leaked the video because that video was taken time-wise. It was taken in 2023 prior to them ever getting pregnant and before they had ever their baby. Since then, there's been 4 seasons of a TV show. She is hooked up with other men around him. She is broken up with him, made up with him, broken up with him. He is like, they've had the most tumultuous relationship since then. When she got cast as the Bachelorette, that would be a great moment to release that video. Don't even let her get on the show to find love if you really cared about screwing her over. Why would you even hold on to that video until 2 days before the premiere? You would release it prior to her even going to LA and having the potential to fall in love with someone else. If he's really truly worried about her moving on and really wants to sabotage her, I don't think he would ever hold on to that video and let her go find love for 3 months or 3 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever, however long. So I don't believe he released the video. This is what happened. And I'll say when I believe when it's like my feelings versus fact. But factually, this is what happened. That incident took place in 2023. She gets arrested. She doesn't plead guilty. And I'm getting a lot of people coming back at me like, she already paid her dues. She pled guilty. No, she didn't plead guilty. She took a plea deal so that they could erase the child abuse statement or the certain of the claims so that her sentence was less. Okay? She took a plea deal. She did not take accountability of that argument. Not even shared accountability. Then she has Ever, right? She has the baby. And that is when we start watching the show, right? We start watching the show and she's this pregnant. And that's when we see the ups and downs and ups and downs and all of the ups and downs and all around. Okay. Years go by. Who knows how many times they've been physical since 2023 until today? My guess, multiple. Why? Because usually when this is how a relationship starts, it doesn't end that way. It's not a one and done. And it's one thing if maybe she got frustrated and pushed him a little bit in a hallway. It's another thing when you're intentionally going after them and pushing and shoving and pushing and then grabbing inanimate metal objects. 3 of them, mind you, to throw. Like as if she's, doing some sort of exercise class or like aggression, one of those like rage rooms where you go and smack things. Okay. So that being said, I don't believe in my heart that that was the first and only time that happened. He filmed her because he knew what was happening. Is that manipulative? Possibly. Is it protective of yourself? Yes. If a man or a woman, I don't care if you're a woman or a man, if I'm in a lesbian relationship with a woman who's half my size, wouldn't that be funny if I was dating someone that was half my size because I'm 5 feet? Okay. If I was in a lesbian relationship with another woman half my size and she was physically aggressive on me every time she drank and we got in a fight, I would abso-effing-lutely film it. Absolutely. Because I would hope that if, God forbid, I am in a position where I need to protect myself, now I have evidence. It makes so much sense. And everyone is getting off on the fact that Dakota's filming. If she didn't even recognize he was filming. The filming is not what made her mad. She would have been mad no matter what. We just got to see it. And I don't know if you guys have heard the second part of the video. The second part of the video is even worse. You don't see anything because the camera is in a dark spot. But the second part of the video is truly, it's awful. It's awful because her baby is crying and she doesn't care. She cares about him. She cares about them. Her excuse that her kids are her priority is not the case. And I say this as a mom. I say this as a mother that has 2 kids. Obviously, now they're 13 and 10, but, like, you don't think I've ever been stressed out to such a bad place when they were younger or even now? I mean, come on. I'm a passionate person. I'm angry. I get frustrated. I get livid. I get anxious. I have stressful days. I have all those moments and I've never once ever hand to God picked up something to throw at someone if my kid was in the room. Like there are limits. There are limits. Okay. So where are we going to go from there? Now, that's 3 years ago. She does her time. I'm using my quotes, but she doesn't learn her lesson. And the reason why we know that for a fact is because 3 weeks ago it happened again. It happened again. And yesterday I read the entire document, so I don't need to do that again exactly about the details. According to Dakota, we have not heard Taylor's rebuttal, but according to Dakota, whom at this point I believe about the arguments, this is what happened, right? They had some sort of custody drop off with Ever. She gets mad. She chokes him. Then she runs after him. She throws a drink at him. She beats on his car. He has gashes. He has this. He has that. So then what happens? Dakota calls 911 on the first night, and Taylor gets him to take it back, probably with the panic of like, you can't let people know this. Please, 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 right? And then all of a sudden, he pulls away from telling 911 the issue. That is not someone who is trying to get his public wife or girlfriend in trouble, baby mama in trouble. Then what happened allegedly is he went home and he lives with a buddy. And his roommate saw his body physically injured by Taylor. And that is what happened. The roommate allegedly, until we actually see proof, I can't say definitely, called 911 and reported this domestic violence. Okay. In addition to that, we've heard that Dakota has called CPS, et cetera. So what happened was all of a sudden, all of the media people like TMZ starts to say, oh my gosh, now like let's really dive into what happened in 2023. We know that they had this argument. We know that she got arrested, but like what exactly happened? And because they're media and because they have interns and assistants and 500 reporters that they can throw out there, they probably drove their asses over to the Utah courthouse and got some sort of a media pass or whatever to see the evidence, the public evidence. I mean, it's private evidence, but it's public if you want to get it, of that court case, which included this video. This video has not been hidden. This video was entered into evidence 3 years ago. And yet, nothing. Hold on, got to open my root beer Olipop. Love me an Olipop. You guys can get a free one. Don't forget. They're not even sponsoring me this week, but I'm going to remind you guys. Buy any 2 cans of Olipop in store, and we'll pay you back for 1. Drinkolipop.com/DANA. Okay, so back to the show. Allegedly, the roommate is the one that finally said enough is enough. That's why I don't think this is the first time it's happened since 2023. Enough is enough. I'm calling the authorities, and then you're going to have to deal with it. And since then, on Tuesday, he has filed a restraining order and filed for sole custody. Happens to run into the ex-husband, Tate, who, by the way, I'm seeing a lot of women sympathizers out there. A lot of the believe women, never believe men people say, oh my God, do you think that wasn't coordinated? You think that those two didn't coordinate to be at the courthouse exactly on the same day? No, I actually don't think it was coordinated. I think they both know that Taylor should not be around their children. The ex-husband saw the news. He saw the articles about Taylor Frankie Paul, choking the baby daddy in front of the baby, and he said, enough. She should not be around my kids. This is a dangerous woman right now. She's dangerous for her children. She's dangerous for others, humans, adults. And I think she's dangerous to herself, if I'm going to be 100% honest, because this is a woman who has threatened to kill herself multiple times. This is not a healthy woman. If you watch any scenes of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she's not healthy. And for some reason, the world just overlooked it. I mean, I didn't overlook it because I've never liked her. And when they hired her as a bachelorette, I thought it was psychotic. But, Nick Viall and all of his buddies, and I guess the people that are just looking for cha-ching over at ABC, et cetera, they're open to, doing what they can. And I don't know if any of those network executives at ABC, at Hulu, any of those studio executives, any of those producers, if they have a moral compass. I don't believe they do. I used to believe they did. I really did. When I worked in the industry, I used to believe that they did. But I don't believe they do anymore. And the crew and the cast of The Bachelorette, or the like production team behind The Bachelorette, completely changed everything last season. They hired a new showrunner. They fired a bunch of old people and hired new people just to save more money. It's all about money. It's not about loyalty, and it's definitely not about a moral compass, because they intentionally chose to elevate and platform an abuser. And yes, they knew. Of course they knew. And I have 4,000 ways to prove that to you. Here is, where did I find this? Emmanuel. I need to find this one clip of this one guy who spoke about The Bachelor, and now I don't know. Let me see if I can find it really fast. He was a host of one episode. Okay, here we go. It's on his Instagram. I'm going to share it with you guys in a second. His name is Emmanuel Acho, and he was on a talk show called, or a podcast called Speak Easy Talk Show. And you may know him. He's a content creator. He's awesome. I actually really like him. And this is what he has to say about this.
Saying, hey, we are interested in you hosting The Bachelor. It came down to me, Michael Strahan, and Tyra Banks. They wanted to keep it in the ABC family. Michael Strahan hosted Good Morning America. Tyra Banks at the time hosted Dancing with the Stars. I said, you can find somebody more famous than me. You won't find anybody better than me. Ultimately, they asked me to end up hosting it. But before they asked me to end up hosting it, severe background check after background check after background check. Not only do they do that, they give me a whole booklet in order to host just this one episode and debrief me on all of that. Not only do they do that, they give me all of the DVDs of the packages from every character that I'm going to have to talk to during the course of their season to make sure that I am well prepped, as they have completely studied me and my history. I say that to say the franchise knew everything you needed to know about this woman, and they turned a blind eye. And that is what, to me, is disgusting. And as soon as they found out this video existed, they were like, uh-oh, we just got caught. And I'm tired of seeing it, because we saw it in the NFL too. When Ray Rice hit his romantic partner, it was a 2-game suspension. When the video came out and we saw him knock her out in the elevator and drag her by her hair, he never played in the NFL again. Stop waiting for videos to be released to punish people when you already know the integral thing to do.
Damn. As they say in on Love is Blind on the reunion. What is this, by the way? It's like clap, 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 clap. It's weird, right? If you're not watching and you're listening, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm putting my fingers and thumbs together. I just see them do it all the time. I'm so old that this feels so weird to me. I feel like I'm like Edward Scissorhands. Okay. So it is an absolute disaster through and through. And it comes down to this man, Rob Mills. Okay. I think it comes down to Rob Mills because Rob Mills is the head of NBC that is in charge of, I believe, Unscripted is what I really think. And let's go through this NBC article that just came out. And it's juicy. And basically, what happened was a couple weeks ago, after the incident happened, but before the press knew about this, so this is after February 23rd, 24th, the cast of Mormon Wives pulled together to say, we don't want to shoot with Taylor right now, or we want to pause completely. Do you know what a big deal that is? These are women that like got their careers because of swinging. It's that bad. And after watching this last season of Secret Lives, I actually think they're scared of Taylor. I would be. They're literally panicking over her finding out that Dakota hooks up with someone else when she and Dakota are not together. That is wild. They have a group meeting to figure out how they're going to avoid Taylor finding out about this other girl. A group meeting. Like they're scared of her the way that you're scared of an abusive father and you don't want to be too loud around him when he's sleeping because he could just snap on you. That is weird. So this article that just came out talks about, it says Secret Lives of Mormon Wives cast raised Taylor Frankie Paul concerns at meeting with ABC executives. It says cast members said in a Zoom meeting, which was recorded and shared with NBC News, that they had concerns about continuing the show if Paul remained involved. Now, it's like a pretty big article, and it happened. There was a 30-minute Zoom that came on March 7th. So this is about 2 weeks after the experience. And it says, even because I guess the girls figured out that they know that there was an open domestic assault investigation. So during the call, it says Mormon Wives stars voiced their concerns over the future of their careers, the show's brand, and the allegations surrounding Taylor and Dakota. They also brought up alleged abuse involving Taylor, who has 3 children, one of whom she shares with Dakota. They brought up the 2023 video, which we've talked about, ad nauseum. And it says that one cast member says that they did not feel comfortable filming as long as Taylor is being investigated. She said, it's a dangerous situation. It's a sad situation, and we don't know how to navigate it because Taylor is our friend. According to a source, the purpose of this Zoom was to tell the girls, the ABC crew wanted to tell the girls, or Hulu or whatever, the production company wanted to say, we care about your safety and you should not feel pressured to do press or film the show. It says the production company engaged a seasoned law firm to conduct an investigation of the competing and conflicting allegations that Taylor and Dakota had towards one another. And it would be inappropriate to engage in a dialogue regarding an ongoing investigation. So there were 3 Disney executives at the meeting. It was Rob Mills, who is the executive vice president of unscripted and alternative entertainment at Walt Disney Television. One of them was Rob Mills. Cast members gave accounts of Taylor Frankie Paul's alleged behavior at the meeting. Rob Mills said on the call, I don't know a lot, nor do I want to know too much. Mills could not speak about the investigation. He says, this is not me putting my head in the sand, but it's not me, I don't want to inquire because I don't know what that does, he said. Okay. This is the head of Disney, who's in charge of all of this, basically says, I kind of want to I don't want to put my head in the sand, but I don't want to ask too many questions about this domestic violence situation in 2023 and the most recent. That's wild. He's like, just keep looking down and maybe no one will notice. That's not healthy. That's really dangerous. Then it says several cast members reportedly referenced distressing and upsetting video recordings of Paul's alleged conduct. but didn't detail the contents of them or play them on the call. So they're talking about the 2023 video. So they talked about it, but they didn't want to show it, or they didn't like actually show it on the call. And then it says a cast member called it concerning that no one at Disney or Hulu seemed to want to know what was in the videos. Got it? Are you guys getting this? None of their bosses wanted to see proof, which all freaked us out yesterday. None of them wanted to see the proof that their moneymaker, their cash cow, their leading girl is an actual abuser. They wanted to close their eyes to it. Hulu executives visited Utah to see the Mormon Wives film during season 5. And while there, they witnessed discussions of domestic violence. And on Thursday, this video finally was released, which does not capture what led up to the interaction, but it does show that she was beating him up and he's saying, "Let me go." Taylor Paul was also shown throwing 3 bar stools. Shortly after the stool is thrown, her daughter, who's nearby on the sofa, can be heard crying. He says, "This is called physical abuse," Mortensen said over and over. Then Paul begins hurling the stools, and he can be heard saying, "Your daughter is right there." So that video is mentioned in the 2023 indictment against Taylor Frankie Paul, which also notes that after that experience, Dakota had redness and swelling around his eyes, swelling on his elbow, scratches on his fingers, and a laceration on his neck from the incident. And Paul's daughter was struck in the head while she is lying on the couch. Remember, she got a goose egg. Her 3-year-old from a metal stool thrown by her mother. Just let that sink in for a second. Now, yesterday, of course, a spokesperson for Taylor Frankie Paul completely shit the bed, and we can get into that statement. But one of the things she said was, again, Taylor is the victim. This is the latest installment of Dakota's never-ending, desperate, attention-seeking, destructive campaign to harm Taylor without any regard for the consequences of their child. Excuse me? You threw a chair at your kid. Like, what in the gaslighting hell are we seeing here? That would be like a video of Dakota beating the crap out of her, and then Dakota coming out and saying, "See, I'm a victim." We would lose our minds as a collective. Now, at this meeting on Zoom, one cast member asked Rob Mills, remember, the president of Unscripted at Disney, "Are you aware she's hurt a child?" And he responded, "I don't think for us getting into it is right." Sit with that for a second, guys. The head of Disney, Rob Mills, specifically heard, "Are you aware that she hurt a child?" And he says, "I don't think we should get into it." This is so bad. At the meeting, Mills stressed that the company is never going to hide anything that is wrong for the sake of business. He said that right after he didn't want to get into it when it comes to her abusing a child. He encouraged cast members to speak about their concerns on the show, but he declined to promise that what they said wouldn't be cut in edits. The cast also expressed concern that Taylor Frankie Paul got paid more than which they did, which Mills denied. Ultimately, the cast agreed to pause filming for The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives until legal action plays out. Okay. Now, at this point, obviously, they pulled The Bachelorette, and there's no current public allegations against Dakota. But Taylor Frankie Paul's publicist, who needs to go get fired as fast as possible, said, "There are too many women who are suffering in silence as they survive aggressive, jealous ex-partners who refuse to let them move on with their lives." Taylor has remained silent. Taylor has never remained silent, I'm just going to be honest, out of fear of further abuse, retaliation, and public shaming. She's currently exploring all of her options, seeking support and preparing to own and share her story. Of course, Rob Mills did not respond to requests for comment, and Disney declined to provide additional statements. And now The West Jordan Police Department in Utah has confirmed that it did receive a domestic violence allegation via phone call involving Taylor Frankie Paul, but it declined to give details about the allegation or any potential charges. That's where I think the neighbor called. I think the neighbor called CPS. And then we know that Dakota filed for the protective order and sole custody. And during the meeting, Rob Mills, back to our lovely executive Rob Mills, suggested staying close with the cast as the investigation unfolds to continue the conversation about the future of Mormon Wives. He ended the call by saying, I want this to continue. And I want everyone to continue really being successful, both with the show and beyond it. But I think really just navigating through this thing and taking care of each other is the most important thing right now. And this was on March 7th. There's no conversation about canceling Bachelorette. There's no conversation about potentially pulling Bachelorette. They avoided looking at her as a potential problem or anything. They literally just let her just shh, everyone be quiet. You know, now that I read that article out loud, I have a wild thought. Guys, I have a wild thought. Is it possible that one of the cast members of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives released that video to TMZ? I'm not joking. One of the other girls, because it doesn't sound to me that those girls had her back on that video like they're trying to make it sound. Is it possible that one of those girls said, I'm so sick of Taylor Frankie Paul getting paid more than us and getting away with everything, and she is literally an abuser, and she's scary, and she makes us all panic, and she literally like doesn't feel safe to have around? Is it possible? It's the first thing I just thought of, but could have happened. It could have happened. I have another story for you guys about what the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives cast are saying right now on their Instagram stories, which is pretty crazy. First, I want to remind you guys that this week's episode of Daily Dose of Donna is brought to you by Tonal. When life gets busy, workouts are often the first thing to go. With Tonal, you can make sure you're checking workout off your to-do list with their smart and compact strength training system right in your home 24/7. One of the things that keeps a lot of us from going to the gym is not knowing where to start or if our workouts will even, work out. So meet Tonal, the ultimate strength training system that tracks your progress to take the guesswork out of working out so you can have the confidence to keep pushing forward. No more second guessing your form. Tonal gives you real-time coaching clues to dial in your form and help you lift safely and effectively. It's basically the convenience of a full gym and the guidance of a personal trainer at any time at home with one sleek system. And right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code Daily Dose. That's tonal.com. Use promo code Daily Dose for $200 off your purchase. And that's TONAL.com, promo code Daily Dose for $200 off. Okay. I want to mention this word that we keep hearing, reactive abuse. Are you guys hearing this everywhere? It's reactive abuse. It's reactive abuse. She did it because she was pushed. She did it because she was forced into it. He was abusing her. So she had no choice but to do this as well. So I looked up, what is reactive abuse? Okay. Reactive abuse describes situations where a person who has endured sustained abusive behavior reacts aggressively towards their abuser. The abusive partner often manipulates this reaction to shift blame and create a false narrative of so-called mutual abuse. However, this behavior is self-defense, a response to ongoing harm, and should not be equated with abusive behavior. Below, we will discuss, then it starts talking about signs of reactive abuse. For example, antagonism, if the abuser deliberately provokes the partner. I think Dakota was doing that, sure. You'll be shocked at my feelings about reactive abuse. I think it's not the case here. But yeah, okay. I do believe that there's antagonism on both of their ends. I think Dakota is incredibly manipulative and antagonistic towards Taylor. And so is she. There's proof, right? Once the partner reacts, the abuser quickly seizes the opportunity to use this reaction as proof that the partner is the abusive one, which can involve recording the outburst on video, taking photographs of any physical responses, or simply recounting the incident to friends. Okay, again, there's proof on both their ends. Yes, she was physically abusive and he filmed it, but how many times has she gone and talked about how horrible he is and how awful he is to every single other person? And then there's turning the tables, which is a tactic frequently employed in reactive abuse. Here, the abuser shifts the blame onto their partner, claiming that the relationship problems or conflicts are due to the partner's aggressive behavior. So that would be like Dakota saying, the reason why we're not getting along right now, or the reason why we're struggling, is because you beat me. Okay. I don't think any of this actually is what's happening here, because a child was involved. Now, I'm going to share the screen with Bethany. I'm sorry for those of you that don't like her, but she had she had a few different takes on this. But I think in one of her clips, she got a lot of people saying it's reactive abuse. And so this is her take on it.
Sorry, I'm going on about this, but the term reactive abuse is being used about this video that has resurfaced, and that this woman was driven to a point and she's seemingly drunk and threw chairs in front of her baby. Now, I am not discounting that someone can reach their boiling point, that someone can be systematically abused and then fight back. I'm not discounting that both parties can be completely toxic. We've all seen both parties have a dysfunctional relationship and abuse each other. That is a fact. The fact remains that there was a child in a video where someone threw furniture. And I will grant you that, yes, it did seem like this person was continuing to bait her and wanted it to be recorded. But I've seen that too. You want the person to do it this time because you're recording and you want that for yourself. But we've also seen it where the person hits a breaking point. You lose me with a child. Like, all of this could be a totally different discussion without a child in the room. I mean, sane parents don't raise their voices when there's a child in the room, verbally abuse each other when there's a child in the room. This is unheard of with a child in the room. Like, that was my childhood, child in the room. My childhood was that plus a lot more. But so this is where you lose me. Immediately, no, I seen what I needed to see.
Okay. And people are shocked that we would actually have this take. There's actual people out there, many women, and a lot of content creators who are actively putting the blame on Dakota on this one. He is not blameless or blame free, but last I checked, Dakota did not throw a chair at a kid. So I don't understand how in the world anyone could see that video and still say ride or die with Taylor. I just don't. It shows a lot about who you are. If you are a ride or die with a woman who abuses her child unintentionally. I don't think she did it on purpose, but she put herself in a situation where she did. It's like I'm trying to think about a situation, because I've been so angry in my life before. I have hormonal issues. I have, anxiety. I have all these things. I've definitely dealt with like really severe hormonal issues. I honestly don't think that there was ever a moment where I literally physically wanted to go after my husband with my kids in the room. I can't even like go there in my brain. I wouldn't even know what that looks like. And by the way, Lance and I are both alphas. Like, we can fight. We know how to fight, not physically, but we know how to argue. We yell, and we have. And even yelling, we don't do around the kids. So like, I can't even wrap my mind around lifting a tool, like a heavy tool, and throwing it in a direction where Oliver is just on his iPad. I just can't even wrap my mind around it. The only time that you should ever pick up a stool and throw it is if a robber is in your home trying to attack you and you're trying to protect your kid. You know? But Taylor got fucked here too, because ABC and Hulu and all of the production companies behind these shows knowingly put her in the line of fire because they thought no one would figure it out. They really thought this would just ever always go away. And it could have, if not for Taylor not learning her lesson. It would have gone away. You know what I mean? It would have gone away and she would have been completely, she would have been known as the girl that had a really rough moment and then like persevered and came out of it, finding love on The Bachelor or not, and getting this great career and this and that. It would have gone away because no one watches Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and says, abuser, even though we knew it happened. Now it's over. So ABC knowingly took a gamble. Hey, she's working out great for Hulu. Look, her followers don't seem to care. Let's all just go and ride this money train as long as we possibly can. It's quite possibly the most FAFO moment for everyone. It's FAFO for Hulu. It's FAFO for Taylor. It's FAFO for ABC. It's crazy. Now, Billy brings up a really good point. Don't you think in all of Taylor's rants, she would have said how Dakota hit her? We did see that apparently they were throwing these discussions back and forth in season 3 reunion. This is the reunion that Stassi just filmed, but they cut it out of the final. If he was yelling, she abuses me, and then she said, well, he abuses me, and Hulu saw that and then chose to just deny it and throw it under the bus for another season. I don't even know what to say about it anymore. Then everyone's just concerned about money. I mean, that's really it. Now, before she threw the chair, she said he hit her. I don't remember that. In the video? I didn't hear that she said he hit her at all. Okay. Where should we go now? So, Mormon Wives, the cast speaking out against her. I'm not surprised that this is happening. I don't follow all of the girls because I just honestly don't want to. But and then we'll talk about Jesse and Jordan because I want to talk about like some blinds and stuff that are coming out about that. But I do know that a couple of the girls have spoken out on their stories, and I'm actually surprised that we haven't heard about it earlier. But Miranda spoke out, and she says, let me share it with you guys so you can see it. Miranda's the blonde girl who is, she gets the wrath of Taylor a lot. This is Miranda. She says, I've honestly been a little at a loss for words trying to process this all. Everything has been really heavy to see. Domestic violence and abuse of any kind is something I take very seriously. As a human, and especially a mother, I cannot support that kind of behavior. My heart is with the children in this, and I hope they're safe, supported, and surrounded by love. This, to me, is the only answer. It's the only answer. Then Layla says, my personal history as a survivor makes it impossible for me to stay silent. I stand firmly against domestic violence in any form. I am keeping her children in my thoughts, hoping for their safety above all else. So Layla and Miranda, who seem to be kind of besties here, I think that they are united in this. Now, Michaela hasn't really said anything, except she did post in her stories a question and answer, and she said that they all collectively decided to put the show on pause. But she's not saying anything. She's posting about it. It looks like she's in Santa Barbara, but she's not saying anything about it. She just said, living my dream. And it looks like, yeah, she's in LA at some point, or Southern California. So she's not saying a word about it. And then, of course, we have Whitney, who, as far as I know, is not saying anything about it either, because she's living her best life. Let's see. 21 hours ago, she's doing ADR in a booth for her movie. And then 1 hour ago, she's just reposting someone, celebrating her outside of Chicago, the musical. Whitney is the only star left on this show, I'm convinced. And then, of course, we have, let's see who else. Jessie. I want to get into Jessie's divorce in just a second. Wait, why is she filming something with Sasha Farber for Dancing with the Stars? Do we know? Is she in Dancing with the Stars? I don't think so, but it feels like it. This is right down the street from me, Millennial. Wait, who's in this video? Yeah, I wonder what they're doing. So she's not posting anything either. Isn't it interesting, kind of like who's talking and who's not? Okay. Jessie's divorce. By the way, thank you so much for being here, you guys. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe and the like button. It really helps Daily Dose of Donna. It helps keep the lights on. Oh, and by the way, I just got a notification that I got 10 new Apple Podcast reviews. So I love you guys. Thank you. I'll read them when I have a chance to look at them. Okay. So then we have Jessie and Jordan. Now, I'm going to be really frank and honest here. Was Jessie perfect with the Marciano bullshit on Secret Lives? I would say, I mean, not Secret Lives, on what's the show? Vanderpump Villa. It's quite honestly a horrible show. I would say no. She definitely had a little bit of a cheating situation. She definitely, whether it was an emotional affair, she kissed a little bit. Like, okay, not great. All right, not great. But I will say, I think that they have a horrendous marriage. And we saw Jessie and Jordan's marriage fall apart in season 3, and the way he spoke to her, and I understand he's mad at her because she did go outside the marriage a little bit, but the way he spoke to her was really, really disgusting. She is the moneymaker in that marriage. I think he just needs to know his place. I also don't like his vibe at all. I think he looks like a little bit like I don't know how to explain it. He's like a wannabe. He's like a pick me. He's trying to do the dad talk. He's just annoying. Guys, I'm just being honest. I don't like Jordan. I never did. I never got it. I think Jessie is so cute, so pretty, so successful. I don't understand how she's with Jordan. I really don't. He should be kissing the ground that she walks on. Now, meanwhile, I spent a lot of time this morning going through old Jessie's reels and stuff just to see when was the last time that she posted about Jordan, etc. And I hate to say, I did see a video. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. It was traumatic. It was traumatic. It was from Valentine's Day. And oh gosh, I don't know if I'm going to find it. It was a video of her and Jordan. Wouldn't that be funny if she, oh no, here it is. You guys, it's everyone if you're scared of just close your eyes if you're not into this look. But this is why I'll never be able to like Jordan. This is for Valentine's Day for an underwear ad that the two of them did.
Wait, do you have one?
Of course.
No, not that one. These.
No. My eyes. He's such a doofus. Well, we find out yesterday that he has filed for divorce last night. According to TMZ, Jordan, don't want to mess up his last name, filed for divorce. I'm actually really surprised that he filed and not her. And I am seeing a lot of rumblings about why that did happen. First of all, Dumois here has released a blind that says Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Jessie told Jordan last Friday that she was done and already had a lawyer on board. She also pre-booked Call Her Daddy to tell her side of everything. And then Jordan rushed to file today, clearly trying to get ahead of it, and added some loser clause about her not being allowed to talk about him on podcasts. The problem for Jordan is that Jessie has not signed anything yet, and she's way too savvy for that. She basically laughed it off like, nice try. Podcast films tomorrow. Jordan's been involved in some pretty shady behavior for years, including allegedly spending money on escorts and parties with her money. This is according to Dumois. It just was released a little ago. And I also have been doing my digging on Reddit, and I've seen a lot of stuff that for sure this is the truth, okay? It says that she has wanted the divorce for a long time, which, by the way, we've kind of all seen now play out for months and seasons that you want. Who would want to be married to that? I'm just being honest. Who the hell would want to be? Okay. And but she told him first. And yeah, there's like all kinds of sex parties and escorts and stealing. It's all her money. She is the moneymaker. Okay. And yeah, so clearly there is something going on there that is really, really shady, because the only reason he would ever file is to get ahead of the story and to look like the winner. And he is not the winner here. Okay. Team Jessie through and through. Jordan to me is just really hard to look at too. I actually am not really attracted to any of the dad talks. Okay. I don't think any dad talk is cute. Not one. The only one that I kind of think is cute is Chase and Mason. Like those two. And they're not even really the mains. But the main girls' husbands are just not my style. I'm really sorry. Enrique says, Donna, I'm sad to tell you that he probably has a new woman. There's a crisis. Men always find good women. Yeah. This show is over. That's why yesterday I posted that I believe Whitney should get her own show. I think the best show would be a spinoff of Jess Whitney Levitt doing her thing in New York, living her Broadway life, trying to manage being the mom. Nick Viall, remember his wife said that horrible thing about like, how does she manage it? Showing how he managed the wife, or how she manages being the wife and the mom, and also a Broadway career and meeting new Broadway friends and like seeing diversity on the show. Like, I just think it would be actually a really fun take to just follow Whitney. And Whitney's the only one that feels like she's professional. Whitney and Jessie feel a little bit professional. The rest, I don't. I just don't think. So there's that. Okay. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to talk about today relating to this. Oh, Taylor Frankie Paul's Bachelorette contestants, Doug Mason and more, have reacted after ABC pulls the show. Doug Mason, allegedly, according to Reality Steve, spoiler alert, won the show and got engaged to Taylor Frankie Paul. And he was just spotted in Utah about a month ago because she flew him out there apparently for the show to break up with him. So apparently he got engaged and then broke up. He is coming out and he's saying on Variety writes about this, that he sympathizes with Taylor Frankie Paul. He says, yo, good morning, everybody. In light of everything that's happened, I'm just sending out prayers to Taylor because that was her moment and her moment was blocked. So all we can do right now is just be hopeful. I'm headed off to run to watch the sunrise. I hope you guys have a great day, and let's stay positive. Other contestants who have addressed the situation include Brandon, Malik, Johnny, and Matthew. One of them said, I'm doing okay. Hope to share more soon. Thank you to everyone who has reached out. Appreciate everyone reaching out. Like, everyone's been very, calm. Doug Mason is the only one that specifically spoke about the show getting canceled, and he's mad about it. Because you guys, this is their claim to fame too. These guys that go on The Bachelor and Bachelorette, or the girls that go on The Bachelor and the guys on The Bachelorette, they don't go on there to find love. They go on there to become famous, to get more Instagram followers. This is 100% a career move. And it used to be as a joke, like, oh yeah, they're doing this to get famous. But like, legitimately now, it is a job. It is a job because it's instant Instagram. It's instant followers. It's instant, potentially, like the chance to be in the Bachelor Nation. Go on Paradise. Go on the other shows. Get hired to be on Traders or whatever the hell they want to do, like the crossover type things. Dancing with the Stars, etc. Being on The Bachelor and Bachelorette is a job. It's a stepping stool for your career in the public. That's why we don't see as many like lawyers or dentists or just good old accountants going on these shows anymore. They're all Instagram influencers, models, content creators, workout enthusiasts, and whatever, enthusiasts. So I just don't believe that these guys will ever be understanding of the situation and say, like, thank you for doing the right thing, because they're pissed. Their show is not getting aired. It makes sense to me why they would be angry about it. And then finally, just to leave you guys, Taylor Frankie Paul is not sitting in shame and silence and depression. She's not. Taylor Frankie Paul is reveling in social media right now, which is truly, when I tell you, one of the craziest things I have ever seen in my entire life. How in the world is Taylor Frankie Paul going through this and not running to hide? Here is a video that an Instagram account called She's All Batch. Her name is Stephanie. She only talks about Bachelor, Bachelorette. And she posted this reel, which is a dig at Nick Viall, which I really like. And it says, Nick Viall showing up to work after taking full credit for Taylor Frankie Paul becoming the Bachelorette. And it's a video.
Hey. How y'all doing?
Okay. So obviously she's blaming Nick, saying, you're welcome, Nick. I mean, thank you, Nick, for messing it all up, because he's the one that came out saying, you're welcome, ABC. It was literally my idea. And Taylor Frankie Paul, 6 hours ago, writes, Nick is my hype guy. I would not die on this hill. This is not a flex. I would not die on this hill. And I am shocked that she is on Instagram right now commenting as if her life didn't completely implode. And the fact that Nick Viall is Taylor's hype guy is enough for us to not ever, ever believe anything Nick Viall says again. Truly. How embarrassing for Nick. Everything Nick is behind, I don't agree with. Truly. If he says the sky is blue, I'm convinced it's purple. Like, we just don't align, Nick and I, on anything. Someone says, Beth says, someone take her phone away. Billy says she can't stop herself, which worries me. AC says, I was surprised she left her comments on Instagram. They were eating her alive. What the hell is happening with Taylor that she has not put her phone down? I'll tell you what's happening. No one is with her right now. I actually think she's alone. I think that her friends, those girls, are not with her because those girls are turning on her. I think that she's definitely not with Dakota. She's definitely not with her kids. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if she's not with Mama. I have a feeling Mommy has left the building too. You can't continue to allow people to act in a certain way and constantly enable them and constantly give them passes over and over and over and over. At some point, you're going to have to recognize that they're going to have to learn the hard way. And if this is not rock bottom for Taylor Frankie Paul, then nothing is. And when I say rock bottom, I don't mean drugs, alcohol. I mean life imploding. Every single person is talking about this. This is so much bigger than just some random Mormon Wives gossip. The implications of a show getting canceled on ABC 2 nights before its premiere night on a Sunday night are so massive. It's unprecedented. So this is going to be an incredibly wild ride. And as Bethany says, welcome to the reality reckoning. I'm actually very interested in seeing what happens. So on Sunday night, we will not be watching The Bachelorette, but you know what I'm going to be watching? The Comeback, back on HBO Max, and an all-new season of Jury Duty that starts tonight. So I am very, very excited for all of that. I appreciate all of you guys being here, and thank you so much for subscribing to the show and liking the show and supporting me here. It's been a weird week, but yeah, we all have ups and downs. I'm still not throwing chairs, so I consider that a win. She needs to go to the gym and punch some bags with a boxing glove on and a trainer. That's what Taylor Frankie Paul needs to do. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you guys on Monday. Join Patreon, and we'll talk all about all these other things. Okay, love you guys. Bye.